Hello, citizens of the internet. I am back. My name is AJ, and I am the A to Z artist. Welcome back to my channel. If you watched the first video, welcome to my channel if this is your first time seeing my face. So, happy Easter. It is currently April 12th, 2020, and it is a nice snowy Easter. So that's always a fun year by year thing in Minnesota. You never know what's going to come Easter. Is it going to be snowy? Is it going to be nice and summery? I mean, given 4 days ago it was nice and super sunny, it's kind of unpredictable here. So, hopefully, if you're in Minnesota or someplace cold, you're keeping inside and keeping warm. Hopefully you're keeping inside anyway, because hopefully you're staying safe with everything going on around you. If you don't celebrate Easter, happy Sunday. May it through another week. Today's video is going to focus on something that's trending on the internet right now, which is kind of weird for me. I've never really focused on what's trending. I kind of just have always focused on the stuff that I like to do. Given that I'm now part of the YouTube scene in some way, I figured I should probably be focused on something that's going on in the real world outside of my doors. But today I'm doing the 6 Fan Arts Challenge. The 6 Fan Arts Challenge comes from a template that was posted on Instagram, and it's pretty simple. It's 6 small boxes, and what you're supposed to do is just draw characters. Draw the characters that are from different franchises. The basic idea is that you're supposed to post it out on your social media, and people are supposed to give you suggestions on who to draw. I didn't do that. That's not because I didn't want to, but because I wanted to kind of go through and pick characters that I either haven't drawn or I don't think they're as popular, not as big a names. Like I didn't want 1,000 suggestions on Captain America or Thor or any of the mainstream characters that everybody loves. I wanted to focus. Wow, my voice just cracked there. It's early in the morning, but I wanted to focus on characters that I really loved in the past, but I don't think a lot of people know about. And so that's what we're focusing on today. We're doing the 6 Fan Arts Challenge, and let's get into it. The first character I decided to draw was one of my favorite designs from the Transformers series. I have always been a Transformers fan. Mech characters, mech robot designs of any kind have just always been my favorite. And so I went with Bulkhead, as you can see I just wrote there, from Transformers Prime, which if you haven't seen that show, it's one of the 3D animated Transformers that came out during just after the Michael Bay movie started coming out. It's very good. They did a really good job kind of taking such a ridiculous idea of robots in disguise and kind of taking it in a serious direction without forgetting the fact that it's a show for kids. So it focuses on both the kid and the adult watching it, because it recognizes the fact that kids aren't probably watching this by themselves. Their parents are probably watching it with them, and so it has some good adult humor. It's got a very serious storyline, but it's also got some really nice, just kind of kid happy moments. The main characters are kids that aren't the giant talking robots. So yeah, it does a really good job balancing those elements. And it's just a fun story. Bulkhead especially is one of my favorite characters because he's so big and burly, and I've always really liked his design, like the super armored tough guy, but he's also not really that much of a tough guy in the show. I mean, he does have that tough guy facade at times because he was a super soldier kind of character at one point, but he also is just a big happy-go-lucky chubby robot, which I think is kind of cool. He's such a different design than you would see in a normal robot fighting type of show, and I think that was one of the reasons it really didn't think about it when I was first watching the show, but now that I'm looking back on it, I think that's one of the reasons I liked him, is because he seems so unique and different from all of the other of the Transformers I'd seen. So you can see right there, I kind of jumped forward. I went to the flatting stage. I did what I did with the last video and kind of skipped past the flatting stage because, again, it's not very interesting to watch necessarily. Just me blocking in colors. I tried something different with the lighting here, which it kind of worked, it kind of didn't, but all the lighting for the piece is coming from his front hand, a really big mace ball that he's got in front of him. It creates a really interesting lighting sequence, lighting situation on his face especially, but some of it kind of gets messed up, especially when I start trying to light the ball hand. Because learning to draw, you're supposed to learn the fundamentals of lighting and how light hits certain surfaces and stuff. And lighting a ball is kind of the most basic way to do that. But they don't necessarily teach you like what happens when the ball is the light. There is a certain... That's one of those things that I had to kind of work out and figure out. And I don't know if I really got it very well. But either way, I'm very happy with this. I love especially how the lighting hit the face and that big jawline of his. So here we go. So next up we got Fjord from Critical Role Campaign 2. I'm going to be honest, I haven't actually watched Critical Role, the second campaign yet. I'm still working my way through the first one. I just hit episode 101. So it's been a long journey for me. I'm getting there though. But from everything I've read about Fjord and everything I've learned about the show, I really enjoy his character, especially the character designs. I don't know who did the character designs. I'll have to do some research into that. I'll probably put it up in text in the bottom here. But yeah, Fjord's character design is just super interesting. Usually when you see the half-orc character, they're the big, super huge character, and I like that this one's a little more, a little thinner and more like dexterous looking. In fact, this character is one of the inspirations for my current D&D character that I'm working with. Different focus, different storyline progression, but it's still that same inspiration of a type of character that I really like. And besides that, he's played by Travis Willingham, who's one of my personal kind of nerd heroes. The characters he plays, plus just the fact his voice acting career is just super cool. So voice acting has always been one of those things I wanted to get into, but it's, I don't know how hard of a business it is to get into, but it's just one of those things I haven't really had the opportunity before. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I picked Fjord. Also, I really wanted to play with the whole tentacle theme that goes with his patron, his character's patron. He's got a very unique background to his character, and so I wanted to kind of work that in with the background to this piece. I really don't know how well it worked. One of the big challenges for all of these little small pieces was just the general small size of the different boxes. I really had to work on getting a unique take on these designs with a very small area to work with. But I'm still fairly happy with how this one turned out. I could have used a little work, but in the end, this is what it looked like. And I think it turned out pretty cool, especially the lighting. next we are on to Punk Mambo. Probably not one of the more well-known characters on this list, to be honest, but one of my favorite characters of all time. Mostly because I think kind of the general consensus with all of these characters is that they're all very different to what you would expect. Punk Mambo comes from the Valiant comic book series Shadow Man. She's from London. She is from the punk scene there, and then she moves to New Orleans and gets into voodoo magic. So she becomes a Mambo priestess, hence Punk Mambo. She binds herself to Loa called I, which you can see in the background. I decided to include in this piece. But yeah, she's just such a fun character to read because she defies all those expectations. She's super. She doesn't fit the stereotype you see in movies of like the voodoo priestess. It's someone that actually cares about the religion and wants to push it further and for herself. And I think that's just so cool to see different takes on these types of characters. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm drawn to characters like this, because they're unique, they're different. There's so many times where people have just taken the same ideas and played them out, and to see character designs like this where they have an interesting backstory, it's always a good time to read their stories. Similarly, we have another character here who is breaking stereotypes every time he's on a page. The character is Winter's Socalo from D-GrayMan. One of the crazier characters on this list, and I mean that both like in terms of design and in terms of personality, because Winter Socalo is quite literally a psychopath. In the story he's in, he gets his powers while in a supermax prison. So you'd think at that point it would kind of feel like a Joker Batman sort of story, but Winters is actually one of the heroes of his universe, which I think is interesting. The D-GrayMan stories, it's about a Christian order called the Black Order fighting off demons called Akuma. The Black Order has a group of super militarized soldiers that have these powers gifted to them by God called innocence. And while in the Supermax prison, Winters was given one of these pieces of innocence to fight against the demons. So you have a Joker-style character, super crazy, but he's fighting on the side of the good guys. Now, normally, like, Joker is one of the few instances where a super crazy, no real goal type character works. So I normally not drawn to that type of character because there's nowhere for them to go. There's no development you can have with a character like that. He wants nothing. He's just psychotic. He's just lost his mind. But sometimes all you need for a cool, interesting character design is context. And for this one, the context is so interesting. He's a hero. He's a good guy. Well, relatively speaking. He fights the monsters, and that's kind of his only reason for existence, is fighting the monsters. He's not an endearing character by any means. He's not there to help by any means. He's just there to kill monsters. And on the one hand, he's a hero for doing the good things, but he's also a monster himself. So it's such an interesting idea, kind of philosophical standpoint to take for this character. I don't think I really captured my appreciation of him in this drawing. It's not my favorite drawing on this entire list that I've got going here, but I don't know. I'm still overall I like the drawing, but yeah, it just didn't capture my appreciation for this character and how different he is from others. Next up, we have got Skull from Persona 5. He is one of my favorite characters from that game series, probably. I know a lot of people don't like Yusuke from the Persona 4 or some of the other like first characters you get from the game. I think they just don't like the personalities they have going with them, and I think I kind of agree with that. They're usually fairly annoying. They're very high energy, very kind of outspoken, loud. But I don't know. I think maybe because they're the first characters you get in the game, you're always a little more. I get a little more attached to them, I think, just because of that reason. Watching these characters grow throughout the series, they always have the most interesting character development. They always have some detracting factor. And like Ryuji here, his main focus is throughout the story is his attempt to rectify his mistakes. He stood up to a bad coach and basically had his kneecap or his leg broken for that reason, which shows you the kind of adults that are in that type of series. But the idea of him trying to build up his credibility again and build that respectability, even though his character personality is a little annoying, there's always that endearing factor of this is what the character is shooting for, and they always have a clear goal, and that for me is good storytelling. Characters like Ryuji, characters like Yusuke from the previous game, they all have definite clear goals, and sometimes that's the case with all the Persona characters. They do a fantastic job with characterization, but these first characters, you really get to learn their motivations from the beginning because they're with you from the beginning. He's the first character you get with you on your journey, and you feel a certain bond with him for that reason. That's just one of the reasons I like him, is you get to develop that characterization from the beginning. You get to develop a sense of that bond, and video games have to do a very good job with that first character you get on your side because you're with them for the rest of the story, and you have to put up with them for the rest of the story. And so, I don't know, I like Ryuji for that reason. I also just like his general overall design. The kind of focus of Persona 5 was they gained costumes and character, like powers, like the character behind him is his spirit, his persona, and they're based on their senses of rebellion. And so pirate plus biker guy, that's Ryuji's design for rebellion, and I love it. So here you go, here's Ryuji. And next up is probably my favorite character in this bunch, and also my favorite drawing in the bunch as well. The character is Flack, FL4K from Borderlands 3, plus his pet Jabber, Meat Thief, because those are the characters I played when I was playing Borderlands 3 the first time. When I was playing with my dad, this is the character I played as. And yeah, I just love Flack. He's like, they got some Pokemon in my Borderlands, and I really like that. I've been a huge Pokemon fan, and so characters that deal with like getting monsters and collecting animals and getting things to help you fight, like the summoner character has always been my favorite trope in any video game. So Flack is definitely up there. Plus, he's just a robot. He's got a big face. He's got a big glowing eye on his face. Who doesn't like that? Plus, Meat Thief, his Jabber is so cute. Just a monkey with spikes, and I don't know. You don't need more than that to impress me, I guess. I know some people were saying like they weren't as happy with the character designs in Borderlands 3 because they're a little more mundane than some of their ones have been. But I think that's a plus. The YouTube channel, subjectively, they were talking about the designs in Borderlands 3 and talking about how they're allowed to do some kind of generic, mundane character designs because all their designs so far have been super out there. And so to have a mundane, more normal character design actually breaks the mold for their game series, which I think was a very smart thing to say about it, just because, like I said, it breaks the mold. It feels different for that game series. Maybe not different in the context of all games ever, but you know, there's a lot of games out, and sometimes you just have to go with your gut. Sometimes you just can't find that super interesting, unique character design. Sometimes you just need to go with something used. And I don't know. I've always loved Flack's character design. Like, again, the super robot, super soldier that can do whatever. And this one has pets, and that's always endearing to me. So, yeah, like I said, this is probably my favorite piece of this group of 6. I think the composition just works out better. I mean, I was originally going to have an action piece where Flack was shooting a gun and the jabber was pointing or something, but I don't know. I just felt like it would be better to have Flack scratching jabber, like just being a fun pet owner kind of moment, and I think it worked out that much better for that reason. For a lot of these, I went a little bit too hard with the character, with like the composition. And I kind of talked about this with the Fjord piece, but there's such small squares, and you don't have a lot of room to work with. And you can break outside of the panel like I did here, but there's just no, like, you have to be careful with your choices there, and you have to be careful not go overboard with these pieces. And I did that with like Winter Socalo and with Bulkhead and Fjord, I think, but overall, this one really worked out for me. I think just because I went for a simpler look. The lighting just seems so much better. I really kind of think I got the metal look down with like his bracer there. I didn't feel like I went overboard with that, which I tend to do all the time. But yeah, Flack and Meat Thief turned out to be my favorite piece of this entire day. So there we go. That is the 6 fan arts challenge. I hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the characters I chose. Let me know if there are other characters you'd like me to do. I would love to do another 6 fan arts challenge. I think this was such a fun challenge. I think that's very repetitive, but whatever. It was really fun to do. I mean, just getting to go through characters that I love and to talk about them with you guys, but also to draw them out. Like I said, these are characters I haven't drawn before, and especially with the video game characters that I chose. I mean, I kind of went with a 2 film, especially with Critical Role. That's kind of a loose term for that, but it's film for the most part. I went with 2 film, 2 comic book, and 2 video game. Especially those video game character ones are super detailed. I mean, they have the option for that because the 3D models they use, they can move them around really easy compared to other animation. But yeah, no, I really loved working on this project. So I'd love to do it again, possibly with your suggestions. So if you have any other suggestions for characters you'd want me to do for a 6 fan art challenge, let me know down in the comments. The next couple weeks, I'm going to be working on some other projects. I know next week I'm planning on getting an OC out for Neo, which is one of my favorite video games of all time. And after that, we'll see. I got a few other art challenges to get through, I think, and I have some other illustration ideas coming up. So keep tuned. I'll see you next time. Be safe, be kind, and have a little fun. Bye! I got a sneeze coming. I got